One of the most important skills to have as a dynasty manager is getting players off your team before it's too late. So we're going to give you 4 players today that we are selling before they fall off that cliff and their value just goes to the dumpster. So Dak, who's our first player?
Our first guy that we're selling before it's too late is Deebo Samuel. Right now, he's wide receiver 31 on Keep Trade Cut. He's ahead of guys like Keon Coleman, Ricky Pearsall, other young players that we'd much rather have on our team and see what they turn into. Deebo Samuel is going to his age 28 season, and he struggled to stay healthy throughout his career. This past season, he was wide receiver 15. He was relatively healthy, but the year before that, he was injured a ton, was only wide receiver 40. He struggled with injuries his whole career. Deebo Samuel, he's a guy that he's never going to be like a wide receiver one just because there's so many guys in that offense that they're looking to throw the ball to. They still have Ayuk at the moment, although he could be out soon, but then they draft Ricky Pearsall in the first round. They also have Christian McCaffrey. They've got George Kittle. They've got a ton of mouths to feed in that offense. It's not just Deebo Samuel. And Deebo Samuel, the way that they use him, they love to use him in jet sweeps, screens, all that type of thing. And it opens up him to get injured a lot. He's very injury prone just because of the way his play style is. So this is a guy that we want to sell like I said, for those players like a Keon Coleman, other young players that we think have much more potential, much more upside at this point, because after all, this is Dynasty. It's not a redraft league. We were looking at the future, not just right now. And we think Deebo Samuel is a guy who, after this season, he's going to be age 29, just another year, tire on the treads. And you look at next season, he's going to be 29, another year, potentially at just being like a wide receiver 2 around there. Maybe he gets injured. And I think you're going to be looking and regretting that you didn't sell him now while you still have the chance to.
Yeah, another thing with Deebo Samuel is you're looking at a lot of players in Dynasty have recency bias, right? Like Zay Flowers is someone who had a really good playoff game, and people are overhyping him right now. Deebo Samuel had a really strong end to last year, which is the first time he's been good in like 2 years. I think people are going to overvalue Deebo Samuel right now. If you can just get rid of him, go get like what 2 seconds. If you can get a first, like I do think that's a little bit ambitious, but just go see what's out there. Go look at your rookie wide receivers that are going in the back end of your first round. Your Worthies, your Pearsalls, your Colemans. Like go try to get one of those guys. I think those types of deals will work out well for you in the long run.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. I think it's time to sell Debo before it's too late. So who's the second guy on our list?
Second guy knocking on death's door is Isaiah Pacheco, running back for the Chiefs. Pacheco is just not that good of a running back, point blank, period. He does have nice highlights where he runs a guy over, and that's great and all, but he's just not that good. He was never a good recruit. He was a 7th round pick by the Chiefs. He's fast, and that's really about it. And like running backs in general, just they get replaced. That's what happens. Think of the best running backs in the league and how they just kind of gone. Players like Dalvin Cook, Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell just poof off the face of the earth. We never thought those players would be bad when they were in their prime, but that happened so quick. Pacheco's not even as good as, not even half as good as those guys, and he's being valued right now as running back 12 on Keep Trade Cut. If you can go get a first for Pacheco, do that. If you can get like an early second, I would do that. If you can get like a second and a third, I would do that. He's just not that good. His upside is lacking severely, especially because he doesn't catch the ball, right? He's in the Chiefs offense, which is a good place, don't get me wrong, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he's like splitting carries with anybody next year. Like it's just not a place I want to be. I never want Isaiah Pacheco on any of my dynasty teams. It's not that I want to construct my rosters either. Like I typically want to have like stud running backs or just a bunch of backups. And Isaiah Pacheco is neither of those. He's absolutely in the middle of that. Just not someone I want to have on my roster. He's someone whose value is going to go down in the near future.
Yeah, I agree with that. And especially you got guys like Trey Benson, Josh Jacobs, other guys that are younger, right? And we want to invest in those guys, or guys like Josh Jacobs that can help you win your league right now. He has way more upside and a floor than Isaiah Pacheco. I'd rather invest in those guys. And a middle guy like Isaiah Pacheco, he's on the younger side, but he also doesn't have the ceiling. So he's just a bad running back, and we don't want those guys on our team at all.
Exactly. You don't want those like what 11, 12 points per game. Like, what's it going to do for you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Who's the next one?
Next guy, Stefon Diggs. We are out on Stefon Diggs at this point as a dynasty asset. We want him off our team before it's too late. We're really surprised that you have this sell window at all, given the end of his last season. He just struggled to put up fantasy points by the end of the year. You could attribute that to the change in philosophy after the Bills fired Ken Dorsey. They promote Joe Brady, and he goes to running the ball a ton with James Cook. But you could also attribute that to old age with Stefon Diggs. He's not getting any younger. He's already 30 years old. He's going to be 31 during the season. He's dealt with injuries in the past, and he goes to a Texans offense where you've got Tank Dell, you've got Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, even a decent decent option at tight end. There's a ton of mouths to feed in that offense, and we don't think Stefon Diggs is going to be the primary target in that offense. On top of that, they restructured his deal, so after one season, he's a free agent. He's out of there. And we don't know where he's going to go after that. It could be a bad situation where he's just trying to chase money like a DeAndre Hopkins in the late end of his career. We're not really sure. We're just not excited about Diggs and his outlook on that team.
I think Diggs is a player that has a lot of hype right now because he's going to a team that, like, wow, the Texans. They have CJ Stroud, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He just came from the Bills, which was probably the best spot in the entire league, being the alpha wide receiver on the Bills. And then when he did at the end of last year, he was terrible. He was awful. And now when you think he's going to go to a team with the most crowded wide receiver room in the entire league and dominate it, you're out of your mind. He might be okay. He might be a back end wide receiver too, maybe, but people are thinking he's going to have another like wide receiver 1 year. I just think that's absolutely incorrect. I think Nico Collins is the alpha. I think Tank Dell is an absolute stud. And I think Stefon Diggs is going to, he might be the three in the offense, genuinely. Like, that could happen. I think he's most likely the two, but whatever. He's old. Have you ever seen the graphs of wide receivers production by age 30, age 31 is when it just falls off a cliff. He is at that point in his career. It is time to sell him. Go get anything you can for him because he's going to be worth absolutely nothing in a year's time.
Yeah, couldn't agree with more. Like you got like a Cooper Kupp or
Mm-hmm.
Julio Jones, guys like once they get to age 30, age 31, that's it for them. And I think Stephon Diggs is another example of that. He's getting to that age where it's time to sell. Like I said, I'm already surprised that there still is that sell window, but by this time next offseason, you're not going to have that. So you
Mm-mm.
better do it right now while you still have the chance.
You might not have that sell window by week 4.
Be honest.
Like, you
Yeah.
get rid of him now. So our last player today is going to be Isaiah Likely. Likely is someone who we just think is a little bit overrated in the dynasty landscape. He's basically a handcuffed tight end, which, like, I don't care about that. It's not worth the roster spot. He's tight end 19 right now and keep track up one spot behind someone like Dallas Goedert, who is a starter on his team and is actually a good tight end. Isaiah Likely just kind of benefits off of catching like 1 or 2 touchdowns when Mark Andrews is out. There's no guarantee. Mark Andrews might never get hurt again in his entire career, and we just expect Isaiah Likely to be good. He's just like he doesn't even play when Mark Andrews is on the field. You know what I mean? Like he's just holding value on your bench right now, which we just don't think he's going to do for much longer. If Mark Andrews plays a whole season, Isaiah Likely's going to go away and never be seen again if Mark Andrews plays the entire season. So just get rid of him now while he has that name value, while he's coming off of those big weeks he had at the end of last year. He had a couple weeks where he scored like 1 or 2 touchdowns and was a high end tight end one because of those couple spike weeks. I'm thinking of a move like this. So I'm trying to get some points on my team. Isaiah Likely's going to sit on my bench, going to score me 0. I'm trading away Isaiah Likely and like Marquise Brown, right? I'm going to get myself Terry McLaurin, someone who has good upside this season, someone who's getting a new quarterback, best quarterback of his career potentially. Someone who could maybe score 15, 16 points a game this year. I wouldn't be surprised. Go make moves like that. Go trade away Isaiah Likely. Anything to say about that?
Yeah, kind of what you said. Like Isaiah Likely subbed in for Mark Andrews those weeks where he was hurt and really benefited off of just those touchdowns. He wasn't a great tight end, and I think because of that, the dynasty community just overreacted. He's valued at tight end 19. He's not a starter, and he's not going to be a starter probably for at least the remainder of his rookie contract.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to remember, Mark Andrews is a top 3 to 5 tight end talent in
Mm-hmm.
football. Like he's not sitting for Isaiah Likely. He's the unquestioned star in that offense. He's going to be the focal point. Isaiah Likely, he's going to be nothing for the remainder of his rookie deal. He had a nice 6 weeks, subbing in, but that's it. So why not move him for someone that can actually put up points? Because Isaiah Likely will not be putting up any points. And then by this time next year, everyone will realize that. They'll realize Mark Andrews is back to being Mark Andrews, and Likely is nothing. He will not be tight end 19. So sell him while you still have that chance.
Yep. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.